We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it
Don't Believe the Hype.
So number 5, who wants to take the plunge first with the top 5, the big 5? Justin, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by yours. Yeah.
So number 5, I'm gonna go Fireside, and honestly, Dan, I think you put it really well in a lot of the points I like about it too. Again, the emotional depth, a bit like darker sound, but in the way that they were actually describing it earlier in the article. Like this one actually does have a darkness in the thing where we were talking about what we think the lyrics are about this potentially like an affair or something like that. It's just got this kind of darker, guiltier kind of feeling to it that I think is quite interesting on an album like this, because it is still kind of sexy, but in a more emotional kind of guilty way. And one of the best bass lines, maybe the best bass line on the album, fucking love, I kept saying for the first half, where's Nick, and I just love that he is able to let loose here. It's a great bass line. I love the bridge to this one. Like you said, you could feel it a little bit more in Alex's lyrics. It's not so cold like I feel like a lot of the lyrics and instrumentation is on a lot of this album. So yeah, it's just I like the warmth. I like the emotional core here, and I've always really liked Fireside. It's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, it is actually one of the least, like we're talking about, that controlled sort of clinical nature of the album. It is one of the ones that are not like that. I suppose it's one of the few that are off the leash a little bit, like in terms of that.
Yeah, it's one that feels more like what they were doing before, like we said with Humbug.
Yeah. But it also is different, but it's not pointing to where they're going. It's almost like it could have been
backwards.
A reflection.
Arranged differently. It could have been on Humbug or Suck It and
Absolutely.
See.
Absolutely, yeah. So Christopher has Fireside at number 5 as well. So you're both on point there. I don't have a clip from him on that, but I imagine he's probably thinking a similar, same as you on there. So Simon, what is your number 5?
Arabella is my number 5.
Oh, okay.
Just because it is like they said what was the phrase? Ike Turner in a Beatle wig.
In a bowl cut with a bowl haircut or whatever.
This is sort of like the thing that goes against that description and also plays right into it, because the verses are very sort of measured and hip hop, and then the choruses are very, for want of a better word, rock. Just that whole Black Sabbath thing. But it's just fun to hear live as well. This is one of all the songs on AM, I would say sort of this, Are You Mine, Don't Want to Know, and Knee Socks. I reckon they keep those in, and people would be happy with those, because it's not like they're playing all of the first album. They're doing like a smattering from each one, but it just feels like it's lopsided towards AM.
Yeah, it is,
and it just feels like they need to not leave it behind, but mix it up a bit. Even just play some songs you don't play from Suck It and See more.
It's strange, isn't it? Because they don't pander to what we always say about them. They do what they want with the albums and that, but with the live sets, they do seem to pander to the bigger commercial tracks. But maybe that's because they like to see the crowd going, and if they didn't have them in there, the crowd might not be going. I don't know, but
so do you think if it is Jamie who's picking the set list, as I can't remember if I've read it, but I've read it somewhere, or maybe it was in like an interview.
You probably read it through a kitchen window in his house when you were spying, didn't you?
Probably,
Beside him doing a set list.
But if it is him doing that, then I think he is like almost like the conscience of Arctic Monkeys, because there was that story where Alex said he played Jamie the demos of Tranquility Base and said, could this be an Arctic Monkeys album, or should I do it as a solo thing? And Jamie said, no, this will work as us. So I think it is a case of he is the linchpin sort of thing, where if he went, nah, you can have like as your own thing, then we might not have gotten that album as it was. I think he's got more. I think he's got more to do with what Arctic Monkeys is than people think. They
Yeah, I
see
think
him just strumming his chords and stomping his foot around and shaking his mane, and they just think, oh, he's just fucking along for the ride, this fella. But yeah, I think he's an integral sort of pin in everything. He's almost like the one that they go to for, like, not people look to him and he's like, yeah or no or whatever. I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, I could agree more. We say that we're always pushing that he is way more important than people give him credit for. As the kind of, he's almost like the manager, right? He's like the guy running a lot of it, I think, behind there and saying a lot and giving people the no, do that, pushing the boundaries a bit more as well than people are comfortable with. And you know that whole Moog synthesizer thing, right, with the car, that he was the one that sort of turned up with that and said, let's do something with this. And the Sculptures is like one of the best tracks on the album, well, like atmospheric wise. So yeah, I think you bang on with that. But in terms of the sort of set list, it is interesting that they pander to that fan stuff really with the sets. But it is only in the UK. You look at the US set list, European set list, they have more freedom there to do what they want. I think they're scared of a reaction, maybe almost, which is odd from them, but I don't know. Yeah, because they're in America, you'll see them slipping songs, and I'm like, fuck, I wish I was at that gig in America. Look at the songs they've slipped in the set there, taken out. So like, yeah, interesting. But my number 5 then is "I Wanna Be Yours." Is my number 5. So this was interesting because I never really listened to this for a long time, even though I knew I liked it. I would never seek it out to listen to it. And then when we covered it, and as you know, I had a problem with the ending, right? I always thought it should have been bigger. And I settled on the episode and thinking, actually, no, they were right. Actually, leave them wanting more than to do something else that might have been, not worked. And when we covered it and I listened to it a lot, both instrumentally and the full version, I was like, you know what, this is a really good song, and it probably moved up my list significantly. I think before we covered it at the start of the season, and that's something we should probably do. We should do a list at the start of the season and then compare it to a list at the end, like a secret list that we keep locked in. But like, I think it would have been more around the kind of 9-10s, I think, at that point, because I would just kind of forget. But then, like, it really increased, not just because I already knew it, like the John Cooper Clarke stuff and all that, right? But the way the changes they made to it to make it work really impressed me when we dug into that. But also, like, just listen to it musically and what they did with that sound and on there, and the way it sees out AM is just really good. So it made its way into my top 5. And actually, I'll jump into my number 4 because I want to kind of talk about both. So my number 4 is Number One Party Anthem. Originally, I had a Number One Party Anthem 5, I Want to Be Yours 4, and that was kind of reactionary from the episode we did, I guess. And also the episode came out when I did my list on holiday, so I'd listened to us talking about I Want to Be Yours, so it was a bit reactionary. And then I listened to both, and I literally did the same thing with One for the Road, Do You Want to Know, where when I heard that Number One Party Anthem 1, 2, and I felt back over the past 12 years, Number One Party Anthem has been a staple of a song for me that I love to listen to. I love to sing along to it. The lyrics on One Party Anthem, I think, are fantastic about that anticipation of going up to a woman, and that idea of wanting to hear the perfect song and him listing songs is just so Alex, and so clever as well and witty. But that, a lot of those lyrics, like the smoking indoors, she knows the owners and all that, they're just great stuff. And I ultimately thought, and the end of that and the way it builds and the big melodic outro of Number One Party Anthem, I just thought, oh, this is actually way stronger for me than I Want to Be Yours. And actually probably like the closest to like my favorite era, right? Suck It and See, as a song. So I just fucking love Number One Party Anthem. I just don't, there's just 3 songs above it that I just love more, so it can't get in that top spot. But I completely understand why people have it as the number 1 song, because I think it's such a well-written, musically put together song that sounds like a sort of Elton John, Bowie type kind of tune, but it has the Arctic Monkeys guitar, the Jamie Cook specials as we call them. It has that keys and that build up in the end, and the lyrics are so good on it as well. He's telling a story on it so well, but a lot more again than the rest of the album in terms of an emotional response, I think, because I kind of get that anticipation, that feeling. We've all had it, right? It kind of relates, like we said, to the early stuff, like, was it 7? about going up to a girl and wanting to be
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
but not quite pulling it off. And I just think it's an absolute banger of a song, and it does ultimately it beats "I Want to Be Yours" in that regard. So that's my number 4. Yeah, my last one before the big top 3 is number 1, Party Anthem. Yeah, although I am a bit disappointed that it isn't Cantona, but hey, we can't have it all, can we? So,
weirdly, before we came on this call, I set all the microphones things up, and I was listening to various songs from the album, and one of the karaoke thing for number 1 Party Anthem came up. So I'll see what that's like, and they've got Cantona in the karaoke.
It's on Google. Google
Is
has
it?
it as Cantona. Yeah.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we disproved it throughout with Alex. Alex said, didn't he, that it was Antenna,
but it fits in with the Gallic shrug. He's French. He's just
it's weird how it's such a weird coincidence that it made complete sense, didn't it? Like, and it actually quite a smart lyric as well. Plus, also there was like something that Eric Cantona nearly played for Sheffield Wednesday at one point as well, and stuff like that. It's like a weird thing, but yeah. Let's go to Simon. What's your number 4? What's the last one before the big top 3?
Number 4 is "Are You Mine." Ooh. Again,
that's
it's
a good place for it, I think.
Yeah, but it's like one of those things where it's been everywhere, and firm favorite live. Every time I've seen them, they've obviously played it, and it's been they've always done like the extended outro, and I've only seen them 3 times, but that extended outro is really good. And he says in that Drumeo, Matt says in the Drumeo thing about how Alex sort of just did it one time. They were like, "Oh, all right, we're doing this now." Oh, okay, all right. And but it feels really like that's what should have happened on the record, sort of the fake ending and then going back into it and stuff. But yeah, it's just an amazing song, but not in my top 3.
Justin?
We're at number 4. So here I have "I Want to Be Yours." Yeah, I really I like the incorporation here. I think it's another one, especially like I was kind of going on before about this ending the album and kind of ending this kind of era, and it's just really nice that they incorporated some things that when we were going through the episode, about him encouraging them to keep the name and how it influenced them in English class and pushed them to write lyrics in a certain way, and but also to take it and to completely reinterpret it and make it this completely different type of song, different type of sound than what they've ever really done before, with this like just straight R&B using the drum machine and stuff like that. It's just a cool ending, really sexy, romantic too, and yeah, it's just a sexy vibe. Yeah, which before this you had love songs and you had melodic songs, but you didn't have like sexy AM quite like this,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great closer to this album, to this era, and a great nod to John Cooper Clarke. So yeah, number 4.
I think it lives. It's a weird. "I Want to Be Yours" is sexy, but it kind of strays into love as well a bit. Do you know what I mean? It's got that weird double part. It's the only one that strays into both. I think like it's that hold your head in deep devotion, that kind of thing. And like it's because of the poem, right? Obviously, it gets read at weddings and stuff here. So, but like that it's kind of sexy love type passion, isn't it? It's passionate, and that's what it is. It's a very passionate song. So yeah. So Chris had. Why do you want to call when you're high at number 4, which is a lot higher than the rest of us, let's say. Excuse the pardon the pun, but no, he hasn't sent a clip for that, so I don't know why, but I assume he just fucking loves it, right? If it's in the top 4, he just really loves it. So
this is going to be my answers to all these ones. I just fucking love it.
I fucking love them. So let's go into our top, to the big top 3. This is it now. This is where we down. So I'm going to start because I think you've both already had it. So I will start. I have Arabella at number 3. Have you both had it actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So my has Chris had it? Yeah, Chris has had it, hasn't he? He had it further down. He wasn't a big fan, was he? So I'm My thing about Arabella is it is one of the songs that I think of first when I think of the album. When the album first came out, I absolutely love it. I think it's that I don't see it in the same way you do, Justin. Obviously, I think the blend is fine. In fact, to the point where those hip hop verses then going down was such a nice surprise when I first heard it. And I've never got over that really. The enjoyment of hearing that down. And obviously, initially, I didn't know it was Sabbath. I don't think it was War Pigs at first back then. And I have no problem with them taking that and sampling it. I mean, it kind of makes sense that the one album where they really sample something is at their hip hop structured album, right? Where they take a sample. So it kind of makes sense. And the fact that the sample they do take is a rock part is quite interesting. Although I do say Helders on the Drumeo said, yeah, we were a bit influenced by War Pigs in that track. And I was like, come on now. Call it as it is. You lifted it completely. But I just love that change. I love the solo of this song. I love it live still. The verses I love the lyrics, and the lyrics for me are a big one. Like the reason it's there is because third as well is because it's. I've said it many times. This is this track when I'm trying to explain and boring people at parties that don't want to hear it about why Alex's lyrics are the best. I use the kind of Arabella, some of the Arabella lyrics there, like as an example of how I always say it, he takes a metaphor, he twists it, he turns it on its head, turns it into something else, not what you expect. So rather than just saying she wraps, she's got me wrapped around a little finger, he'll say, the Helter Skelter and I ride it endlessly. I love that, and I love the Arabella kind of reference to the Barbarella film and all that kind of. I like the equating it sexiness to love, to space and that kind of stuff. And I just love it. I love it. It's always a fun song to hear. In the 12 years of listening to it, I've never got bored of listening to it. So that's why it's third for me. What is your third, Justin?
My number 3 is Are You Mine?
Okay, fair.
So Are You Mine? Yeah, we talked about this being such a big moment when it came out, and even though I loved Second and C and I loved all their albums up until this, it just felt like this new energy. Loved the video, loved them kind of being goofy with it, but also it was just really kick-ass. This amazing guitar line, and he was back to his kind of like, it was new but familiar with the kind of hip, like the fast type of kind of sing rapping thing that he was doing. Very catchy. Just like so easy to love right off the bat. And even though it was on the album when it came out, I still loved it. We talked about the first 3 tracks being some of the best run, and this is a big contributor to that. So yeah, I mean, this is one of their all-time greats. Are You Mine? And I just still really enjoy listening to it. It's fun to like drum along to it like they're doing in the video and everything. This is a great one.
Yeah, I think that's obviously a fair placement for Are You Mine. Chris went with number 1 party anthem at number 3, which is obviously ways away from you, Justin, but one ahead of mine and close to where I suspect Simon's is going to be. So let's hear what he had to say about number 1 party anthem.
Party Anthem, another one that I absolutely love. I think it's a brilliant song. Lyrically, musically, it's just a beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah, short and sweet there, but yeah, that's it. I couldn't agree more. We had all of our number 3s, or have we got?
No,
yeah?
Simon's got to do number
Simon,
3.
no,
right?
Simon, you got number 3. Yeah.
My number 3 is I Want to Be Yours, because I think it ends the album perfectly, and it feels like the end of Knee Socks, and there's the pause, and then the boom, that the little drum machine thing, all that is like a perfect ending. And you said before about you've done your ending songs. This will be quite high on my list, I reckon, just because it sort of points the way to tranquility in terms of the oddness of it. Like it's a strange song. It's strangely structured and things, and obviously it's John Cooper Clarke's lyrics, but just beautiful. And I think when I saw him live the first time that they did it, and it was It was lovely. My wife was incredibly bored by that gig though, so I've not been to see them again with her.
Yeah, I went to CIM with an ex-girlfriend that hated Alex, so that was similar experience. But so she had to go, unfortunately. But she said, "Me or Alex?" And I said, "Pack your bags."
She's dead. Dan
She's
killed
dead.
her.
Yeah, I killed her for you, Alex. And
She
then
had to go.
I dropped a mic on her grave and said, "Invoice me for the microphone." So I agree with that, and I think we changed in the end to number one party anthem, didn't we, on the number one party anthem episode? But I think we retracted that, didn't we, and said no. I Want to Be Yours is the perfect sort of end to the album, and I think it really struck me when we covered the Aaliyah album how much they'd captured that R&B sound of the sort of mid-90s in that track, but put John Cooper Clarke lyrics to it, which is amazing. Like who would have ever thought that would work? So yeah, great. I think I said it on the episode. Great vision. If I Want to Be Yours, to be able to take those lyrics and put them to this kind of song and change some of them to make them work and come up with a chorus is just a sign of great artists, right? To be able to see that in it.
Because I've heard the John Cooper Clarke, like the song version of the poem, and that is
yeah, we listened to it a bit, didn't we? Yeah.
Do you think that they hadn't heard that song before they did their version? Because
I think they had absolutely.
Do you reckon?
Heard it. Yeah,
So I would be too tempted to just like not do the exact same thing, but his is structured differently, and of course it doesn't have that
Very
middle
80s.
bit either, does it? Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
It was so 80s. Yeah, I mean, just to who would have thought that, like, I don't know, "Let me be your vodka Tina, I will never rust" would end up being such a sexy line when it's put in certain music. Like to think of that is absolutely, it's probably one of the songs on the album where when you sit down and think about the artistry put into converting those lyrics into this track is actually quite astounding. I think actually when you actually give it the time of day and go, fuck yeah, I never in a million years would have thought that would work. But there you go. So let's go to number 2 then. Ooh, the big one. Ultimately, I went with Are You Mine because it's a weird one with Are You Mine for me, because ultimately this is technically my favorite track on the album because this is one of my favorite Arctic Monkey songs ever. And the reason it can't be number 1 is because I don't think, when I think of this song, I think of waking up in 2012 and seeing the video and hearing the song for the first time and having my mind blown that they had done something that I had been saying they would do for years, which is they're going to make this track. They're going to make this rock track that's going to blow people's minds. And then they did. But because it came out in 2012 and I had that response then, that is why, even though it is technically like my favorite song on the album by definition, because I listen to it all the time and it's my go-to when I'm out and it's my go-to to just put on and I know it off by heart and I fucking love it at gigs. It's from a different time to me. It's like Suck It and See, in between Suck It and See AM is where it lives for me. Whereas my number 1 song on this album is like my song on the album that I love that came out with the album, if that makes sense. Like didn't come out like way for like I said it before, I was almost pissed off that Are You Mine was on the album because it was such a long time. It was like a year and 2 months or something in between, and it kind of annoyed me that it was on there. And I was like, no, I want another track. Give me another track. But but yeah, I just think it is one of the best rock songs made since it came out still. Like, and I'm being very specific with rock there, like rock and roll, that kind of thing. I just think
that rock and roll.
Yeah, that rock and roll, it's cyclical in nature, So I just love that. The lyrics are amazing. That hook, "Are You Mine," is so good. It encapsulates the feeling of wanting someone so much in that kind of sort of sexual way and wondering, does she want me? And to piece it, and not only have this amazing, the lyrics that I connect with, and a Thunderbird reference in there of all things, for Christ's sake, at the beginning, and that whole thing he was doing with the Drake stuff and that, where he was answering the question in the next one, like the hip hop songs do, and to not only have that, but then have this video where Alex is suddenly this guy with a quiff and a tattoo that he's showing off, looking like the sharpest cheekbones on any human being since Bowie in the 70s, right? I'm like, and Bowie only had sharp cheekbones ones because he was on crack. So like Alex has just worked out, but like, I think. But like, and then
is it slander or is it libel when you? It doesn't matter.
I think there's worse libel out there about Bowie. So we won't get into. But like, and I've held just doing the drumsticks, and I've Nick in the back, and then to do the second video for it of this live performance, it's all one take as well, where they're having a laugh. Like, I think that just encapsulated that. Suck It and See, they were having a good time, right? And then with Are You Mine, it was like, oh wow, they're really having a good time. Like, and I can feel it. Like, I can feel the lifestyle, the life in it. So it's an absolute, I think, one of the best songs of the past. I can't say decade anymore, can I? But one of the last songs, best songs of the 2010s onwards. Absolutely. And I mean, of all music, and I'll defend that with Are You Mine. Easily one of the best rock tracks, definitely. One of the best rock riffs. Hats off to Nick O'Malley for coming up with that on bass. I've heard in years. Like, I haven't heard a hook like Are You Mine since Are You Mine, actually. Like, one that good. And I'll just say that as a new song. And I just think, yeah, phenomenal track. But unfortunately, it can't be number one because I fell in love with it in 2012. And that's my reasoning there. And I love the next track a lot, almost equally. So, yeah, that's my number two. Should we go have Chris's? Chris's number two is also Are You Mine? So we're on the same page there. Let's see what he had to say about it.
Are You Mine? I don't know what else to really say other than absolutely fucking fantastic. That song is incredible. I remember, so I was still at high school, secondary school, whatever you want to call it, when that song was released. And by the time I was, 16, 17, the Monkees were probably no longer in the sort of zeitgeist of popular culture in the UK. They were still a massive band, but maybe not as big as what they had been 5-6 previous. It's probably like 5-6 years previous, sorry. And I remember when this song was released and going into school the next day and someone walking past me in the corridor chatting to their friend, someone that I had no clue was an Arctic Monkeys fan, and I remember them sort of singing part of this song to their friend, and that at that point I was like, wow, this, I loved this song, but I thought, I was at this point died in the wool Arctic Monkeys fan. So to hear just another sort of normal stranger sing this song really sort of made me think, wow, this is really broken through. And I think it has gone, it's one of the biggest songs and sort of set the trend for what this album was going to become overall.
Yeah, I mean, kind of similar, I guess, but it's true. It did make them back into the zeitgeist. This track, actually, they had a Lollies right with Humbug, Suck It and See. It felt like, not like from a gig point of view, people still wanted to go and hear the early stuff, but they'd certainly dipped a little bit from those early days of being so big. Like, it's that thing of us wanting to knock people down again, right? But then this song was so good that it plummeted them back in, and then following up with AM put them back on that again. And I remember when you hear someone singing a tune by a band that you love who doesn't normally like that kind of music, I think that's when you know, like, oh shit, yeah, okay. I remember a guy that loved heavy metal coming up to me in school and going, yeah, that new Arctic Monkeys album's all right. I really like that Riot Van tune. And I was like, oh, yes, that means yes, I'm on Riot. Excellent.
I think also because it was so different from Suck It and See, like,
yeah,
and also upbeat again. Like I said about the first two albums are fast songs, even though it's maybe not tempo wise, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot of ear grabbing things, like the guitar, as you said, and the riff and the backing vocals and everything. I think all that was very, it was like a shock, almost like they've been plugged in again almost.
And it's a commercial rock riff, but they haven't had to do what they've done with AM where they've structured it. It is probably just a live recording, so
yeah,
it was just naturally a commercial type of song without them trying to be. I imagine they put it together like one of those tunes you can imagine they put together very quickly once they heard the riff, and it just happened to be incredible. And it's just perfect radio play song, right? And perfect night out song. Like you say about the DJ, like you said earlier about the problem with the stuff being when you were a DJ, you got to get the crowd going. I imagine Are You Mine is one from this kind of era what you could put on in the club and it would have a good reaction to get the tempo up people. It's certainly,
and also everybody singing, like when it all breaks down, so it's just him singing. Everybody arms in the air screaming along with him, and then I go crazy back into it. That is something to see. It was quite good.
It's certainly one that I crack on the karaoke if I'm pissed up as well. Like,
Oh yeah,
mine
I've done
is
that
one for the
before. Yeah.
karaoke. Yeah, and also as I've
To-
said before, at the Tranquility tour, when I was one of the drunkest I've ever been, I don't even remember much of that gig, to be quite honest with you, which is a shame because that's an album I love. But like being with my straight ahead from Alex on stage and being with my leg up on the chair in front, going "Silver Lining," like pointing at him like I'm Elvis. Like, so yeah, I think this song's an experience, right?
yeah.
But number 2, Simon.
I've gone for Knee Socks,
Very
which I
good.
think must be everyone else's number 1. But I think it's just because it is like the hookiest, the hookiest non-single song on the album for me. Just everything works about it. Like the riff, the breakdown near the end with the "you and me could have been," all that thing, and then the counter melody on top of that towards the end as well. It feels like I could. I will say it again. I don't know why this wasn't put out as a single, because it's got everything, and it could have worked across however many different radio stations. It just feels like
Yeah.
it's got everything that One for the Road doesn't have for me. Like in terms of like structure and the sound of it and the play and everything. It just feels like it's a missed opportunity.
And it does shock me that it wasn't a single. That
It may be
one of
because
the that is one of the missteps, I think.
it might be because it's a bit long in terms of radio play, where it's like 4.5 minutes or something, whereas everything else is like, I just like Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High is like 2.5 minutes, and it's like one perfect little thing. But yeah, it feels like maybe they could have edited it down a bit or changed a few bits around for the single mix. But again, you know, I'm not in charge, and they're Arctic Monkeys. They know what they're doing, I presume.
Well, I think it is. It is like what? Let me ask you, because there was a kind of bit of the only disagreement we had on this track was that breakdown. How do you feel about that? You know, that stopping with the falsetto and the Josh Homme bit and all. Well, just in like the Josh Homme bit, but you just weren't sure about the falsetto with the mean streets and all that. Where you? How do you feel about that?
Me, I love it. It's the thing that the earlier songs I've had on this list, where I said they're just plain and nothing stands out. This stands out. This is like the USP of this song is that bit at the end, the riff, and the "you and me could have been." That is
Yeah.
what makes this song for me, and it was what has put it to the top of the list. Just because
Cool.
stands out amongst the other ones as a memorable thing, and also live is really good. Like even on the Royal Albert Hall live show, where it begins with that's just dum, 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 dum,
Oh, I love that.
oh, and then you could just hear him go tick, man. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
everyone goes fucking mad. There's like the anticipation of, oh, is this Knee Socks? It could be anything. They could be doing the Jam of Boston or whatever it's called, or one of the other weird
Yeah.
things. But yeah, it's
all that
and
to
then
come.
when it kicks in and it's like, oh yeah.
I'm very intrigued to hear your number 2, Justin, because obviously one track here that the rest of us put a while ago. So I'm intrigued which way this is going to go. So number 2.
Yeah. So I'm going with Simon on this one. My number 2 is Knee Socks. So this Knee Socks has always been, from my very first listen to this album, has always been one of my absolute favorites. It's one of the ones that I would say is like the staple, one of the staple sounds of AM. Like if you had to kind of like show somebody a track or something, like what is AM about, and be like, oh, if you like this song, you're gonna like, I think, the album AM. It's so sad. It's the sexiest song on the album, which we've already talked about how sexy I Want to Be Yours is, and other songs. I think One for the Road is quite sexy, sexy vibe at least. But Knee Socks is the sexiest. And I think, with the incorporation of like the hip hop elements and everything like that we've seen throughout this album, I actually do kind of like the more just kind of like rocky version, or what they're doing more with just like the band version of this sound. I love the lyrics on it. We talked about how visual a lot of his lyrics were. You Cured My January Blues. The counter melody that Josh came up with is like one of the best, absolute best moments on this whole album. It's just so unique, and it stands out so much, and it's not like anything else they've really ever done before, or that anybody's kind of done. It's just so, his wailing, and there's like it's so cool. I just really like it.
Yeah.
The guitar riffs are really cool. The instrumentation that everybody's bringing in this one is cool and unique. And yeah, Knee Socks, really, really love Knee Socks. This is a great, great track.
So it's interesting because I was so sure that was going to be your number one, but from the episode that we
Been
did,
blowing your mind.
but I don't. You have been blowing my mind. This, but then I look, the track that is your number one, we covered so long ago. I can't remember what you thought about that. Like ultimately, so you know, like I was like fucking May now, right? Or something. And then we did that.
Yeah.
So, but okay. So we did number two for Chris? I can't recall. He did. It was Are You Mine?
Are You Mine, right? Yeah.
You talked about yeah. Okay, well let's go to our number ones then, because we'll start with mine and Chris's because they're the same. So they're both Knee Socks, obviously, and because Simon's already talked about Knee Socks, we'll just play Chris's thoughts on Knee Socks.
Knee Socks, I think that's probably my favourite on the records. It's just a sexy song. Probably maybe not the sexy song Alex has ever written, but certainly in the Arctic Monkeys definitely is. Incredible that bit with Josh Homme comes in. I know he's talked about it the other week on the podcast. Just probably my favourite part on the record, that bit. And I think I know Alex said that in the on the track by track run through as well, but I think it has to be from first listening, the guitar riffs on that were one of my favourite parts on the whole record. So I was really glad to see that. I'm really happy to see that song get the recognition and praise that it deserves.
Yeah. So does he mean recognition and praise it deserves from us? Is that what he means? Because I was trying to
Maybe. I guess so.
About that because I don't think it's getting it many other places. But I went Knee Socks as well. Before I do, I'll just pick up on his point there. What do you think non-Arctic Monkeys song that Alex has done that he thinks might be sexier than Knee Socks? Like, because I assume he means Shadow Puppets.
It would have to be Shadow Puppets.
Like, I was trying to think what song could he possibly be alluding to. Like, it can't be off the first album because they're not very sexy, so it has to be off Everything You Come to Expect. And I don't know what, unless he sees Sweet Dreams Sienna as sexy, which could be. You could, I guess, in a way. I see it as love song, obviously, but being my partner's song. But yeah, although you know, we do have sex, so there is that.
I'm gonna look up the track. I'm gonna look up the track.
Shock
listing.
anyone there with that.
Yeah, I'm having a look at it now, and I just can't.
I can't see what it is. So get in touch, Chris. Let us know what it is that is your what you think may be sexier than Knee Socks outside. He didn't say anything. Was he just said maybe? So
this kind of
Yeah.
sexy, I guess.
Yeah, it's quite serious. Yeah.
You might be
Alex
talking
saying
about
that though, right? It's not. I can't say sex and miles in the same sentence. It's too disgusting, to be honest with you.
without predator or offend.
So I'll move into. So I got Knee Socks at number one, and I would say I said this on the episode, day one, from when the album came out, this was a number one. I think the bass is the best bass in the album for me. I think that bass riff is amazing, and like you said, that intro in the live version takes it to another level. The riff, the guitar riff, I love that, and I love when they do it live and they do that guitar riff and they do those little noises that are quite echoey, like the like out there. I love all that. I think his lyrics are so good in this and so good at setting a scene and that vibe of the winter and the sexiness of it. And this is one of the songs that does invoke an emotional reaction. It's just the emotional reaction of not necessarily sex, but just like a vibe of that feeling of being in the winter months. And obviously, I said I always related to it because I coincidentally 6 years after the album came out met my partner in January. And I was very depressed at the time, and it changed my life. So that whole Cure January Blues thing was kind of crazy. That once again, Alex just fucking puts his thumb in my brain and goes, "There you go." But like, so the whole lyrics and then the breakdown in particular, I love that falsetto bit. I love the lyrics, the whole reference to Mean Streets and Be My Baby, and it's so clever. And one of the first times that we start to see the kind of film buff that Alex is, I guess, at that point, and he becomes for Tranquility even more so. And when Josh Homme comes in, I think it's fucking outstanding, and the outro is brilliant. And that bit, I think I put it in the episode in the edit, so hopefully you heard it and you knew what I was talking about. But the way he changes that bit live to do the little pause before he says "You wore my Lacoste" is really cool. I love everything about this track. I think it's the sexiest song on the album. I think it's the best song on the album by a like actually by well, that I know you mind, but like if I'm taking Out Your Mind out of it, I do think it is so strong and it did deserve more from it. And I think it should be a staple in the live set. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
If you put Snap Out of it in there, then no, come on, let's put Knee Socks in there. Knee Socks needs to come back. It is such a tune. And yeah, sexiest song they've ever done, I think, by far. Only close to a B-side that we haven't covered on this. Well, we have covered on the show when you're hearing this, but at time of recording we haven't covered yet. But brilliant song, and I love the whole the story of them being stuck with it and Josh Homme coming in and singing that bit through a tequila bottle, messing about in the studio and just unlocking the rest of the song. I think is just such a. It's kind of like the perfect way of tying it to what happened with Humbug, right? To have this moment where you're struggling with this really cool song, and to have this guy that you kind of put you on a certain path a few years ago come in that's now a friend that was an idol when you were young, right? And then he took you under his wing a little bit at one point, and now he's coming in and doing this bit and helping you with the song after you've just worked on his album. It's just perfect sort of rock mythos, right? That idea. And yeah, I just think this song is so cool, and I will bang this on at any point ever. And it's just this and Are You Mine are the exact antipathy of what I said about Do I Want to Know. I've heard them so many times, but I'd never get bored of them.
Yeah.
Never been bored by Are You Mine once. I've never been bored by Knee Socks, like, ever. If it comes on, I'm playing it again multiple times. So yeah, great track. Fucking has to be probably high up when we do our ultimate list, I think, as well. Yeah, masterpiece. Should get more. It should have been a single, I think, just to get it more radio play and get it out there more, because it's such a good song. But yeah, there you go. That's my rant on it. Beautiful track. Over to you, Justin.
Yeah, so much higher than everybody else, but it's okay. So I have Do I Want to Know here, and I think that Do I Want to. I said this in our main episode, but again, it was like 4 months ago. I think this is one of the best songs that they've ever written, and in a way, kind of really encapsulates AEM, the experience, the era, the album, even the concept of the album, of what it ultimately ended up being. I think is like really represented in this song. I mean, even the album artwork, this kind of like minimalist kind of idea. And we, when we broke it down, we talked about things like, oh, Nick's not really doing a lot here, and like, oh, what's going on here, and they talking about the kind of precision of making this album, of the way that they construct these songs. And this Do I Want to Know almost feels like this amazing artist coming in and specifically doing, I said at the time, like a minimalist piece, where you're like, oh my God, usually all these different things are going on, and they're specifically choosing to limit themselves to make this type of art. I think there's a reason that this is like one of the most covered songs by them. I think it's so specifically designed to be accessible, and yet it doesn't feel cheap. It's some of his best lyrics, I think, on the album. It's got, again, kind of going back to that core relatability that made them blow up from the very first album. This song is so relatable, I think, to just anyone who listens to it. It's like sexy. It's also insecure. It's just this kind of universal feeling that almost like 99.9% of the entire population has experienced. I think it's just so accessible in that way. That guitar lick is so unique. I talked about it too, like not only coming up with the guitar lick, but making this vocal melody against it too. It's just such a unique thing. And yeah, this Do I Want to Know, I think, is one of their absolute best songs, and the only competition it has for me for best opener is maybe View for the Afternoon. And we talked about those parallels between this album and the first album, and representing themselves so well through those. So I think it's one of their absolute, maybe their best opening track, one of the best songs they've ever written. in my opinion, in a through a specific lens. And yeah, to me, this is like AM, the concept, the album, the vibe, what they tried to accomplish, they accomplished it here and created this like almost type of timeless song in the same way as I see 505. This is kind of like a kind of timeless song in my opinion. So yeah, do I want to know? Number one.
I think. So, sorry, go on, Sam.
No, I was just saying. Yeah, that was that was
Yeah,
me and Dan slagging off earlier. I was fucking boring.
No. Hey, I said nothing wrong with it. I just got. I think what's good about that is you're absolutely bang on the money about everything that you say about it, and that's probably what I would have said about it years ago, right? And I think it's nice. I'm always jealous that you can still get that. Like, because I imagine when you listen to it, you still listen to the full thing and you enjoy it, right? So, because it's your number one track on the album. So, I think it's nice that you can do that. I'm always jealous that I don't get that from it anymore because I've just my enjoyment of it has eroded over time, basically. Just, but I think you're absolutely spot on with everything that you said about it, 100%. All I will say is, View from the Afternoon will always beat it to the opening for me, just because I can't beat that opening for a debut album, and that opening line of a debut album that's been hyped to fuck, being anticipation has the habit to set you up for disappointment, is like, oh, these guys are different. But and I was right. So here we go. We've had one passion. I think your number one, Simon, is not that far away from where I had it. I had it at number 4, but reasonably far. I can't remember where Justin had it, but yeah, a bit far from it. So
like 9 or something.
Yeah, so very far. So you actually, where you do want to know,
it was my number 8. It was my.
Do want to know a number one party anthem you both had kind of in like different. Yeah, kind of do that. Yeah, so
yes, this number one party anthem for me is not only the sound of it; it's just everything I want my records to sound like, but I don't have enough money, and it's literally all my songs there. This is if you don't get a third take, we'll just cobble it together somehow. But not only the sound of it, but like the lyrics are. I've been on nights out where I'm going because I know I've seen this girl. She's been there like 3 times. I know if I go again, I'll see her again. But it's like almost like snapshots, like the lines you said, like is it I want it all, where they just are like random phrases, old dogs, new trips, like anything. This feels like the same thing, but along more of a theme of a night out where you know she's gonna be there, and you go there and you're thinking, this time it'll be different. This time I'll go and say something. This time I'll might suggest somewhere from which I might know her, just get the ball to roll, like pretending like you know who she is, just to say, yeah. But it's that intense encapsulation of just, it might work this time. I might just go there, drink my drinks by myself and stare across the bar. Just it is all that thing, and then it's almost like not being blackout drunk, but like having the things where you remember certain points of the night, like when you get to that verse, the shutterbugs, the camera plugs, the she's with me, the guy, all that feels like almost like flashes going off on a camera, and you're like, oh, you're seeing like that, and you see that, and you see that, and you see that.
Yeah,
is like, it's the perfect sort of mid-20s drunk night out song.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I think it should be in the live set again. I think Alex should, even if it's just Alex doing it on piano on his own, that would be fucking great. A little on-course version of this on his own with piano would be so nice. And then maybe, do you know, like when they did the Glastonbury and then Helders came in with the drums during Cornerstone and everyone came in, I think you could do something like that with this, where it's just Alex with the crowd and then this comes in. I agree with everything you say, and I think when we did the lyrics for it, that Shutterbug and all that was because we obviously list some famous tracks that are number one party anthems, and then he lists all that, and you like snapshots, like you say. I think it's brilliant, and I think it was struggle for me. I wanted to put it higher, but like it just fell where it fell because it did. It's like, I'd say it's my number one song of the rest. If I love Are You Mine, do you know what I mean? If I love Are You Mine, Knee Socks, and Arabella so much, but this is my number one song of the rest. And yeah, I think you spot on. I think it's an absolute great tune, so well written, and I love the troll of it as well. The fact that everyone before thought that it was like, oh no, but Python, that's going to be like a fast banging tune, and then it's a ballad.
Well, that was the thing, because I got this album sort of later after it came out. I heard it out after it came out, and I was like, "Oh, here it comes, number one party anthem." Oh, all right. Oh, this is much better than I thought it was going to be. Rather than,
Do you think we relate to the lyrics more because Justin's a brash American and we're little insecure Englanders approach her? You will just go up to a woman, whereas we hide in the corner skulking until we can walk up. Even Alex, even someone of Alex's stature.
yeah, well, it is. I don't know. Being Alex Turner, I presume you could just walk up to anyone and go, "All right."
Yeah, I think the women come to him, to be honest. What was it that Guy Garvey from Elbow said? Women turn to putty around him. So there you go. That's the kind of. But I do implore anyone though, because I did it after we did it, the episode, to go and listen to 7, followed by number one party anthem, and lyrically you will go, "Oh fuck, this is like 17-year-old Alex writing about the same thing, but now he's writing from a different place," and it's very interesting lyrically to hear. Both songs are about going up to a girl and trying to say something that, like he says in that, if you think about the line you just said where he says, try to say I knew her from somewhere to get the ball rolling. Yeah. In 7, he says, gonna walk over like something from a film, but I didn't have the bottle at all. That's a similar kind of idea, right? So I would advise anyone to go do the double bill of 7 and number one party anthem, if you will. But yeah, no, great. I think all viable number ones, all great number ones. And I think a lot of people will say knee socks. I think a lot of people say do you want to know. I think a lot of people I know say number one party anthem. So we kind of touched on every one's favorites.
Hopefully we covered the whole range there.
Yeah, and I think we were quite close in our top 5s, more or less. There was a lot of Are You Mines and a lot of number one party stuff like fairly there.
Well, with good variation too, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, all good. So should we go through to our custom album orders? We can just go through these. I'll start, shall we? So this is where we're gonna put the album in an order that we think would work for us, including, if you wish, the B-sides or certain B-sides. So hang on, I'm just sorry, I've made a mistake on one of mine. What have I done here? Okay, I'll go first anyway. So I would still open it with Do I Want to Know, because I feel like I can't beat that. I can't hear Do I Want to Know ending without hearing Are You Mine starting. I just can't change that in my head at all. And similarly, I think Chris said it, I can't hear Are You Mine ending without hearing One for the Road. Again, like I haven't changed a lot on the first half at all. So then Arabella is in the same place. I have Arabella. I like Arabella into I Want It All, so I've kept that the same. And I've kept that going into number one party anthem as well. So that first album for me, I loved the flow of it. However, what I would like next is to have Stop the World after number one. So I want that number one party anthem, that with the organ, and then doom doom open sesame, we've places. I think that's a nice flow into it. And then similarly, when Stop the World ends with that off with you, it goes doom 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 doom. I want Fireside. I want that. I want that kind of upbeat tempo to come in with Fireside. When Fireside ends, that ethereal like. How does Fireside end? It's like a do 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 do.
It's with the kind of strumming, right?
Yeah, do do. I want I want to come in doom 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 doom. You're So Dark. I think that coming in after Fireside to keep that kind of dark tone going works really well. And then when You're So Dark ends with the bass bit that it ends with, it goes You're So Dark, doesn't it? I think the end of You're So Dark. So like You're So Dark, I want High to come in because I think that would lift it. But it's also that kind of hip hop beat. I think it would make sense because High kind of goes with the first half of the album more than the second half, right? So I think that kind of flows better. So obviously I've taken out Mad Sounds there, by the way. I've removed Mad Sounds from the album and replaced it with Stop the World. So You're So Dark, then High, and then at the end of High, I don't fucking like that it goes and Snap Out of it in any way. So what I want after that is it to go into Knee Socks. I think High with that High and then the the bit works so much better. I like that. And then obviously I would keep Wanna Be Yours as the closer. And I actually think to have the B-sides as 2013 Mad Sounds Snap Out of it would actually make me. I think Mad Sounds would be a stronger song if you didn't consider it an album song. I think you'd appreciate the melody more if it wasn't on an album. And Snap Out of it, I think, is a big hit. So I think, like Stop the World, it would just be a big B-side like Stop the World was. And I think people would like it as a hit. But for me, it lives in a B-side world more than an album. This album world anyway. I think I'd like it more as a B-side, actually, Snap Out of It. I think I'd go, okay, I see what they're doing here. I have more leniency with the B-sides in terms of like what they're doing with them. So, yeah, that's me. Whoever wants to go next may.
Simon, go for it.
Okay. Do you know James Hargreaves on YouTube? The fellow who does YouTube Oasis thing. He loves Oasis.
Yeah.
I've gone full James Hargreaves with this now because I have met because he's done the whole videos where he's convinced that the first two Oasis albums are stories, and if you put them in different orders with B-sides, it tells a story. He's obviously got too much time in his hands, as have I, because I have now reordered this album into a sort of a story about one relationship ending, then the other one sort of starting. So I've begun with Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High, which is a breakup, like his girlfriend saying, fuck off, I gotta be up in the morning. But and then Knee Socks, which is him recalling the girl, thinking about the girl he was with. Some of these don't work. Don't think too hard about these. I can see Justin looking up and trying to remember. These are very surface level things. Then Snap Out of It, which is him trying to get her to reconsider.
Yeah.
Breaking up with him. And Mad Sounds, which is him finding solace in music, because it's all about, that one's all about like the healing thing of music or whatever.
Yeah.
Number one party anthem, going out and finding someone new to sort of obsess over. Arabella, which is the girl from the club he was seeing. Stop the World, which is seeing Arabella at a party and trying to get her to leave with him. One for the Road, which is people from the party have gone back to Arabella's house. This is in my mind. Right. So one for the Road, and then the last three are then Do I Want to Know? Does Arabella feel the same as he does?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Are You Mine is him coming out and asking her, do you feel the same way as Are You Mine? And then her final thing is I Want to Be Yours to him.
Oh.
As I say, too much time on my hands. Sat on a bus.
No, that...
typing all these. Looking at the
I was trying to keep track. Which songs did you eliminate? Which songs are not included?
I didn't have I Want It All and Fireside. I think everything else. And then I put in Stop the World because that seems to fit in.
Yeah, although ironically, Fireside and I Want It All would probably fit into somewhere in the theme that you had in the story.
Early on, but it was just sort of like these are my thoughts on a bus coming home from work.
I think as a story, it absolutely works. Obviously, I said I don't care about track listing, but to listen to those tracks in that order from a musical point of view would be fucking dreadful. Yeah, but like to open with High would be fucking ballsy even by their standards. But I think as a story, it absolutely works. And similarly, so Chris said that he couldn't think of doing this in an order. So what he did was he tried to put in a concept album of a night out. However, we are running low on time, and we've already gone over, and it's very like the one he put together is very good. I actually quite like what he did, and it's very detailed and very good. But unfortunately, we don't have time to play it, Chris. But me and Justin are planning an episode where we go through the links between the first album and this album, which we're going to drop on a very specific date this year that we've already decided on. And I think we can play it in that because it kind of fits with that theme of because he's done it as a night out, so it kind of fits with the first album theme, right? Of nights out. So we will play. I've got that saved. We will play that clip on that episode that we're doing. So rest assured Chris will put it there. But Justin, this is your area, man. This is what you love doing. This is what you always talk about. You gotta nail it. You gotta nail it. Come on.
Okay, so we have a lot of similar choices, Dan. I was surprised to hear some of the things that you said because I agree. So the first three I keep exactly the same. So it's Do I Want to Know, Are You Mine, One for the Road, exactly the same. Where I change it though is this is another instance where I think some songs way out of place can really affect how you feel about them as well. So I did One for the Road into, so will you put me one for the and then it goes into Snap Out of It. So the more poppy kind of version is more toward the front, which is how we get a lot of Arctic Monkeys albums.
Sure.
So I think that flows. Now, out of Snap Out of It, it gets Snap Out of It, wow, and then it's going into High. So I'm keeping the more melodic, like poppy version. Boom, bum, bum, bum. And then I was really happy about this because this really actually did change my general like opinion a little bit, like the flow. So after High, High, and then it goes, I'm listening on my headphones too. Then it goes into the hip hop version of Arabella. So you have the hip hop vibes of High, doom doom boom, ba 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 bum. But then you get the switch up, so you're changing the vibe a little bit of Arabella, and then Arabella is gonna go. How does Arabella end? With the banum, and then it goes to the clicks of Stop the World. So banum. And then click, 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 dun, open sesame. And this is going to be like our vibe change, but not a dramatic one. So we have a more rocky version, and then we have a kind of like a middle, right? It starts to become a little bit more deeper, darker kind of sound, but like nothing crazy yet. So we go through Stop the World, and then we're going to go into number one Party Anthem to kind of keep this like more melodic medium vibe going. And then we're going to go from number one Party Anthem into Fireside, where we're going to get into the darker, moodier stuff. We're going to do that transition. Then from Fireside, we're going to go to You're So Dark. Now we're getting into the sexy moodiness a little bit. And I completely agree with you. I'm going to go You're So Dark into Knee Socks into I Want to Be Yours to close it out. So we have this nice string of like darker. So the first half is like really more hip hop driven and like very accessible. A lot of the hits are towards the beginning, and then we have like a kind of emotional shift, and then it ends on the sexy vibes. Ends it on the sexy vibes.
You could say a similar structure to your favorite album, Favorite Worst Nightmare, with the sort of poppy finger hits at the start and then the moodier vibe in the second half.
Yeah.
You may say, I think that tracks. What tracks did you remove there then?
So the tracks, Mad Sounds is gone, and I Want It All is gone.
Okay, those so they'd be the B-sides.
So I switched that for Stop the World and You're So Dark.
Can you imagine how pissed you'd be if 2013 Mad Sounds and I Want It All with the B-sides, though? If you put that universe at its head, you'd be livid. I think that works really well. It's one of them with it. It's one of them where you kind of think, oh, that would have worked better. But I am also like, I think the Arabella one's smart because I think I had a problem with like, is One for the Road and Arabella too similar in that opening verse, like straight after it, you know? So I think it's smart to have, because of the change, to put that in a place where the next track's going to be like more in line with that. But it's one of them
in a weird place because it's after it you have I Want It All, which is like kind of similar because it's rocky. But the one before is also kind of similar, One for the Road, because it's all the hip hop. So it's almost like sandwiched in between the two opposite ends of it. So yeah, I actually really liked it after High. I that flow, I found myself not skipping it as much when I've been listening to this kind of practice album.
Cool. Well, I think all very good ones. But to give ourselves a break from talking, shall we listen to the John Kennedy from this era then? Give our voices a rest.
Too much to discuss over a bucket of balls.
Brand new record, which is out this week. AM is what it's called. And I've got the dream team of Matt and Alex here once more.
Oh, yeah.
So every single album we've done album playbacks. So
I know, it seems like moments since we were last sitting across from you.
I know,
John.
Amazing. It's amazing. I mean, 5 albums.
I
think this is a pretty
coming back for more.
It's a pretty good work rate, though. I mean, it first came out in 2006, 2013 now. That's almost an album a year. It's good. I think it's good.
It's got to stop, isn't it?
I don't think so.
It's got to stop. I'm going to go water skiing after this one.
But it's funny because this one seems to have taken longer than any of the others.
Yeah.
What was the cause of that
You're
delay?
telling me. Yeah.
Was it because you were busy doing other things, or was it a struggle?
The I don't know, the cocktails are longer out there. I don't know. I'm just trying to lighten the mood.
So
I
are you all officially living in America now?
No. We've been spending a lot of time out there, and we've made this whole record out there, and the last two. But I don't know if it's home, just we've been there kind of a lot this last year.
Yeah.
Made the record there. We took a long lease on a studio there, where we kind of became our HQ, where we wrote and recorded this new AM album.
Yeah. So you actually wrote it there too. So it was like a practice space that you could.
What it was intended to be originally. It's a studio, like there's behind every door, it seems, and that's certainly somewhere on that corridor behind every door there's a studio in that town, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's sort of, and some of them work and some of them don't, and ours didn't necessarily. But we were going to rehearse there for a bit, and there was this lovely old API board in there, and tape machine, etc. And we sort of thought, well, why don't we just try and knock the dust off this and stay here, kind of, because we got it relatively cheap, and so it just became our thing. We got a little Donkey Kong machine in there and put up some pictures and kind of made it our own.
Wow, that sounds great. So this is Sage and Sound recording.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know I don't know what else has been done there. Maybe something, perhaps like Weezer might have gone there one afternoon.
On the wall.
But yeah, it's not like a sort of ocean wave fancy sort of Hollywood studio.
Yeah. And so it's not kind of shrouded in history, or that
it's not like so and so got like bent over the desk or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? It's like,
So
although now,
obviously
we put
just
that
knows
into the
so and so
fabric
is
of the place.
So that became a home from home. So you were living around the corner from there, or was it within that kind of walking distance, or did you have to get in a car? I mean, everybody seems to drive in LA.
You have to get on some form of. Sometimes 2 wheels are better than 4. I'm going to say 1 then, but I don't. I rarely ride a unicycle, especially to work. It's dangerous. But it was a commute, but not a long one.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You could walk it. I walked.
You could have
a
walked
couple of times.
Yeah.
0.1 mile.
And so, at what point did you end up going there? I mean, in 2012. I mean, was everything recorded there? So that
we recorded everything there. We did like the tour with the Black Keys in America, and we just like sort of stayed there straight after that. Came back to do the Olympics because we were going to go straight into the studio. We had like the fire in our bellies, and like while the momentum was up, we were excited to get straight in and record. And then the Olympic thing came along, and we were like, well, we can't really say no to that. And that like took about 2 months to like be involved in. But so as soon as that done, we went back and just got back into it.
Yeah. And were you all living in 4 separate places, or were you living together? Do you think this is a Californian record?
Whoa. Triple barrel.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, no.
Supersized me.
I don't know. Because I've only thought about it recently, or like we were saying, if now we were like, oh, we're only kidding, we recorded it in Millwall. If anyone would be like, oh, okay. But, I mean, it's because we've told people to record it in LA. I don't know if like then in your mind it becomes like a thing. But I can't tell. I don't know if that's right. I don't really know if it sounds like it was done there.
Yeah, maybe it's like we need a decade or something to be able to answer that.
To listen back.
It's like, and we're still sort of quite involved in it, I suppose.
There's still no windows.
I mean, maybe it's a you tell me moment.
Right.
Is it California? Maybe, yeah,
well,
compared to like the first, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like
it
about
doesn't
some of the
sound like
same
it were
stuff,
raining
isn't
at
it?
any time, though. I will say that. Doesn't sound like it were raining on the first album.
On the first one?
No, it does on the first one.
It does, right.
There were a bit of rain on that, I think.
And in terms of the living arrangements then, were you all in separate places?
Separate dwellings.
Separate dwellings.
Yeah.
Need that space
Just for
from
peace
each other.
of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And do you? I mean, I'm just trying to picture.
We spend
Arctic
more
Monkeys
time in there though than we probably did apart. So
right
in the studio.
Yeah. So those were places pretty much for sleeping because you need to get Donkey
exactly.
Kong a lot. And
the Kong was there.
Kong was the sort
everything
of
we needed.
that was Jamie, our guitar player.
Like a surprise for everybody. Actually, he organised it himself.
He organised the Donkey Kong machine. That's kind of his.
That's his
prerogative.
I like that idea, but I'm trying to picture Arctic Monkeys in Los Angeles, and if you're living in 4 separate places, whether there are other people, do you have your own social networks that you get involved in, or is it still very much the world of Arctic Monkeys when you're over there?
It's just, I suppose, our world has maybe expanded slightly.
Yeah, we've permeated.
Yeah, but that's what's been there like probably more fun than it was the first time we went. Like it would be anywhere.
Yeah,
knowing people, if like people we've met, like the people we've made videos with or records with, and so it's an extended family now.
Yeah,
I suppose we. It's also the first. This point of note, maybe that it's the first time since we all lived in Sheffield that we all sort of lived in inverted commas in the same town for like 7 years or something. So I think it's more of a collaborative record than the last ones have been due to the circumstances they were made in. If you know what I mean.
And I presume this is a positive thing?
I presume so too. Given the reaction to it so far, yeah.
Yeah, but it felt positive for you in terms of, having everybody around rather than being in New York or in London while other people were elsewhere.
Exactly. No, definitely. Yeah, I'm just fooling around. But yeah, it was great. Yeah, because we were just there and all kind of immersed ourselves in it.
And did you have any idea? I mean, apart from kind of wanting to get into the studio and get on with it after being on tour, did you have any other agendas or ideas before going into record?
Yeah, there's a blueprint this time that was kind of "Are You Mine?" Really, this song that is on the record, but was kind of the springboard for the whole thing. It was like, let's make 12 tunes like that, basically. But I suppose the definition of what a song like "Are You Mine?" It kind of got kicked around a little bit and beaten out of shape, but that's kind of, I think we've sort of stuck to that, really.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because obviously that came out in February of 2012, and Black Treacle was the last single from Suck It and See, which is only a month before, really.
Right.
But that kind of closed that door on that record, and suddenly there was already new material from Arctic Monkeys, which was really exciting. But then, obviously, you got caught up in recording, and then touring, and then the Olympics.
Yeah.
And here we are now, what seems like a lot longer than necessarily we were going to think with Are You Mine coming out so quickly.
Yeah. Well, like Matt said, I think, in this interview just then, but the momentum, the idea was to carry that momentum from the tour and Are You Mine straight into the studio after, and then the Olympics thing came up and prevented us, I suppose, from getting straight back into the studio. But also I think was an amazing opportunity, obviously, to play that.
A welcome prevention.
Yeah, and you could say that. And also perhaps gave us some perspective on and allowed us to consider the whole thing a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, how many songs had been written before you had to go to the Olympics?
I mean, it was sort of sketches, like ideas of things beginning to form. But there was I mean, a lot of those things, I suppose. There's a whole load of other tunes that aren't on the record that we wrote that kind of branched off too far or didn't like fit the idea. And I guess it was more, maybe I was fooling around with that stuff before, and then there was like a 3-month period where, having done like Do I Want to Know, I suppose, we were like, oh, that's it, and then kind of chased after that thing, kind of went down that track.
Yeah.
yeah, so then it kind of, once you got your claws into that kind of idea, then it was like easier to sort of find the stepping stones out of there. So many metaphors there, just to kind of
and the
ceases to make any sense whatsoever. And then once you reach about like 5 in the same thing, you just, where are you?
Well, we're going to hear various different stepping stones, I think, tonight. It is AM in full, Arctic Monkeys, the brand new record with Matt and Alex, talking us through it track by track, and it kicks off with Do I Wanna Know next.
John Kennedy's Track by Track podcast.
Radio. Too much to discuss over a bucket of balls.
Some interesting stuff there, I think, and nice. That's why when I heard that intro, when I was doing Do I Want to Know John Kennedy, I was like, oh, I'll save that for the wrap up because it kind of encapsulates the whole era.
Cool.
First of all, the man's obsessed with sex in this era.
Yeah,
They've got bending people over the studio.
And also to the Olympics, like factoring in and like what would it have been like if they had just gone straight in? Maybe sometimes you have these things that make you stop and think more about it. It probably wouldn't have been as polished or as clean as it is. So
and Glasgow being like a firm deadline and stuff for them, and like that.
Yeah.
What was that comment I said a few weeks ago that I saw someone saying like to go from headlining Glastonbury to then opening for the Black Keys in a tour is like the weirdest band trajectory, like all within a space of a couple of weeks. But I
think
the band's also
what they're like though. Like they know that they're not massive in America. Like Oasis wouldn't have done that. I think Oasis only supported REM and U2 on tour. So it's like
bigger bands.
They're quite big bands. But I don't think Arctic Monkeys think that way. I think, or their management don't think that way. They know, like, to get more fans, you have to play more gigs, and to play more gigs to more people, you have to be a support band to a bigger band.
Yeah.
But then you could argue now that the Black Keys are, Arctic Monkeys are bigger than the Black Keys now everywhere.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think so.
Do you think in America? Do you think so? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I think Brothers and the album after that, El Camino they were bigger than Arctic Monkeys then, and they won Grammys and shit for those albums, right? So they were like bigger in America then.
True.
But since then,
ground, maybe they're
since
equals
then,
now.
Didn't the Black Keys have to cancel the tour because no one was going? Or was that?
I don't know. I haven't really followed them, to be honest.
Tour.
I saw them like last year, but
they
I
had
saw
a US
them,
and it was cancelled. And they gave.
Maybe that's why. Yeah. Oh right.
I can't remember if it was because no one had bought tickets, or not enough people had bought tickets.
Maybe that's why they've done so many gigs here. Because like I went to go see them in July again, but I couldn't make it work. They were at Castlefield Bowl in Manchester. They only played here last year, and I was like, they're doing a lot of UK-based stuff. Maybe that's why. Because to be honest with you, since El Camino, they've really stepped back on doing any kind of commercial records. They've done some kind of country blues stuff that's even far on that side for me, like too much. But they've done a couple of albums with Beck. Sounds like kind of Beck albums. They've done a couple of tracks with Beck and stuff. So they've gone a different way, kind of. Which they're just doing what they want, which is they've earned the right. They toured for years. But I think, you're right. I've always said that the ego that Arctic Monkeys, the lack of ego to be the biggest band in the UK. A lot of bands will be like, hang on, I'm having to drop and do these small gigs in America, but you got to put your yards in, right, like they did over here to earn it. And I think that's impressive. If there's one thing I would never take from anyone, I know people thought Alex was a bit arrogant during AM, but I think this band has zero ego, really. I think he's playing a part when he's doing that stuff, really, but I think they're all down to earth individuals. Really.
Drugs might have paid.
I think he was on a lot of cocaine at the Brits. That's that's almost confirmed. I would be shocked if he wasn't, which is fair enough. But he also obsessed with water skiing, jet ski. He referenced water skiing there, didn't he? And he did jet skis on a moat, and he did videos on Heldersving with boats and stuff like that. The man's obsessed with water-based sports. They kind of alluded there. Water sport, yeah. I didn't say. I specifically didn't say water sports because I knew the partridge in you would call me on it. When I was getting a drink and I thought I'm not going to say water sports in front of Sam. So The Jamie Donkey Kong, he kind of alludes to Jamie being the vibe setter there. He ended up saying it's his prerogative, but it sounded like he was going to say it's his. That's his kind of role, is to come up with stuff like that to set the scene for the band. Yeah, that's his area. And I think it's nice they lived in the town for the first time since the first album altogether, or within walking distance. So they kind of
that was interesting.
Yeah. And this, I think, is probably the most similar to the first album, right, of all the albums in many ways. So
wasn't it in the car they all lived in that manor house for a week? Or
yeah. It was. Because
And
the
they were just
staff
like-
were all posting pictures of
They
them
all
and
watched
stuff, weren't they?
football,
Yeah, they watched the Euros, didn't they, in there and stuff. So, that was cool. I know in Tranquility, that when we come to it, they kind of rented out some French manor house for that, didn't they? And just lived in there, like amps in the bathroom and all that kind of stuff. But okay, well, that's the John Kennedy. Shall we get to our favorite lyric on the album? A difficult task, some may say, on there.
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
Well, let's hear from Chris, shall we?
Favourite lyric? Okay, there was a few. This was hard. I had to get the lyric booklet out for this one, and I'm still not really convinced I've picked the one that I think is my favourite, because there's so many. I would say if it was any other album, probably would have a standout. This one maybe lyrically isn't the best of his, but they're still brilliant. Do you know what I mean? They're still like absolutely incredible. But I feel there wasn't for me one necessarily that was an absolute standout. A couple of shout outs. In my heart, there's that hotel suite, and you lived there so long, it's kind of strange now you've gone. I think a lot of people can relate to that. It is, it's very succinct, and it's sort of, exactly what he's talking about there. Knowing full well that I may understand. Oh, sorry, I fucked that up. Knowing full well that I may suggest there's somewhere from which you might know her just to get the ball to roll, I think is great as well. Again, a lot of people will relate to that one. You're going to chat to a girl for the first time, and you're just trying to come up with something, and that's the best you can come up with. But I'm just praying to God that it'll work. But I've gone for number one. These are all fairly similar, I suppose, in a way. And this is one I found probably most relatable. I've gone for one from Do I Want to Know. I've gone because there's this tune I've found that makes me think of you somehow, and I play it on repeat. I think everybody can relate to that. Whether it's a song, a place, a photograph, a film, there's something that associates with someone that you love, you're infatuated with, whatever, and you just constantly listen to that song, watch that film, eat that food, whatever it is, over and over again. And I think that's incredibly relatable. I think what I never mentioned when the sort of general thoughts on the album was this album is, for me, very much twinned with the first one lyrically, and how it's all about it. When they had sort of three albums slightly stepping away from it, very much brought you back. You have mentioned it before, so I'm not going to go into great depth, but I feel all the lyrics on here are very relatable to people, and that's why the album was such a success as well, because lyrically people like to be able to relate to it. Although I love the car and Tranquility Base, nobody can relate to having a hotel on the moon, so I understand why it's a bit more abstract and people don't like it. Whereas this album and the first one, incredibly relatable. Those three lyrics that I've reamed off there, everybody understands what he's talking about, everybody knows what he means, and they can associate it with their own life, which makes it a lot more special to people. And on that one, yeah, I just think it's perfect. The way it's sort of structured in the song as well is brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I think he's right in the reason that success is it's relatable, right? The lyrics, so yeah, everyone can kind of universally relate to it. I think personally for me with Tranquility, only 2 tracks are about a hotel on the moon, and I will stand by that. I think people, I'm not saying Chris thinks that, but like a lot of people think it's a concept album about a singer on the moon or whatever, and it's just not. And I actually do relate when we get to it to a lot of the social, political, just musings on life at that time and stuff in general. When we get there, I think there are a lot of relatable lyrics in Tranquility if you know where to find them. But obviously to the masses, AM is way more relatable. And I think all of his choices were pretty good lyrics. For me, I had a similar problem where there's just so many good one-lines and stuff like that in this album that it's almost impossible for me to pinpoint the best one. So I just went for the one that I said earlier I've been boring people with parties about for the last 12 years, explaining about Alex, which is Arabella's got some interstellar gator skin boots and a helter-skelter around her little finger, and I ride it endlessly. She's got a Barbarella silver swimsuit, and when she needs to shelter from reality, she takes a dip in my daydreams. I just fucking love that. But I don't think even that probably is the best one on my favorite. It's just the one that I think of the most when I think of the album. So, but it's an album of great one-liners, right? It's almost impossible. So what have you, Simon, what have you gone for?
I've gone for "It's not like I'm falling in love. I just want you to do me no good.
Oh,
You look like
yeah.
you could." It's just sort of like,
Yeah, it's fucking brilliant, that.
yeah.
Yeah. The idea of just blatantly saying, I'm not looking to fall in love with you here, I just think you could do me. And no good is so sexy in its way. Just the idea of someone doing you no good. You're going to get a bit of good, obviously, from it, but then, it's just a great, I agree. That's a cut-in line that I think every man can kind of relate to.
It's almost like the pinnacle of the song, the main point of the song, and it's just that whole thing of him going there to find her and then just going, I don't want to get married. It's just, all I want is this.
It's amazing line. Justin?
I went with the same exact line that Christopher Gale went with, because there's this tune I found that makes me think of you somehow, and I play it on repeat. One, because of the point he already mentioned of it's so relatable, but not only is it so relatable, it like transcends. It's almost like in a movie when someone like breaks the fourth wall. It's like this became the song that makes people think of the like it becomes what he's talking about. Like this song became so big and popular that it is what he's talking about. But since he mentioned that one, the only one that was like a big competition that I was trying to go back and forth with was and I thought I Was Yours Forever, or maybe I Was Mistaken, but I just cannot manage to make it through the day without thinking of you lately. I thought that one was also a very relatable and personal line that hit me. So
yeah, I think they're all, but I mean, I could probably go through every song and pick up one line that I would go, oh, wow, that's brilliant. Like, for the most part, even a snap out of it, I think there's a line in there that I would go, oh yeah, that's a great line. So this is an album of Turner of phrases, right? He's really on point with this one. So it's funny, isn't it? Because Christopher Gale sounds like a character from a sort of fairy tale movie, like Christopher Gale. It just sounds like that, or a kind of period drama or so. And then when he speaks, he sounds like Spud from Trainspotting. So it's like weird. It's like a comparison. We actually missed something here. We actually forgot to rate our B-sides on this. So we will just do that now in the interject. So it's quite an easy one, this one, I feel, for me anyway. 2013 is the bottom for me. And then Stop the World is my second favourite B-side, but You're So Dark is my clear winner for B-side. I love that tune, as we heard last week. Justin, are you the same?
Yeah, I have the same exact list. The only thing I would mention is if people do want to consider Electricity within the realm, since Are You Mine typically ended up on the album, I would put it just above 2013. So I would say You're So Dark is number 1. Stop the World's number 2, Electricity's number 3, and 2013 would be number 4. But if that was gone, it would be the same exact list as yours.
Yeah. Cool.
Mine is Stop the World number 1, You're So Dark, and then 2013. I think You're So Dark is just lyrically really goofy.
That's what I love about it.
And I have the horror connection, so I like.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes me laugh. I don't think, Simon, you will have heard the episode yet, but I said, because it hasn't come out yet. So what I mean by that is that the Poe as a backing vocal, like Edgar Allan Poe, and then Poe is one of my favorite things in the world ever. Like, it's so stupid, but
it sounds like they've been asked to write a song for an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for like a band to sing in the background, and it's all gothy influence. Yeah.
But it's also so fucking sexy as well, and Alex is just forthrightly telling her to get down on all fours on it, which he never really does that forthright, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, I think Stop the World, didn't we? That is the most successful B-side of all time for Arctic Monkeys. Stop the World. What was it? 188 million streams. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, should have been on the album.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But let's hear what Chris's were.
Go and rate the B-sides. This is a piece of piss for me. Number 3, look at 2013. I want to defend this song. I think Justin was very harsh. Look, it's a B-side. It was probably the record label saying, boys, we need a B-side, put something together, and they've just done it in an afternoon. It's a lot of fun. Had this been on the record, I'd be absolutely fuming, and that would be probably the worst thing they would ever have done. But it's a B-side, get over yourselves if you don't like it. Number 2, we'll go Stop the World, I Want to Get Off of You. Good song. I don't really see the hype about it, to be honest. I think it's good, it's fun. I wouldn't have it on the album personally. I think, although I dislike Snap Out of it, I would probably just have it an 11-track album rather than swapping these two, because I feel I would probably have the same feelings for this that I have with Snap Out of it if it was on the record. And then number 1, You're So Dark. Again, I mean, I enjoy it. I don't really love it as much as I think you guys are going to love when I eventually listen to the pod. I think it's probably released in the next couple of days, your episode on that one. But I think it's good. I think it's fun. It's probably the sexiest song that he's ever written for the Monkees anyway. You probably Sweet Dreams is maybe a little bit hornier, but I'd say it's good. But I feel the B-sides on this one very much, when you look, for me, the Humbug B-sides and the Favourite Worst Nightmare B-sides are the sort of pinnacle. These don't go anywhere near it. But yeah, still good.
That's very interesting that he sees Sweet Dreams like we mused as Alex's sexiest song outside of the Monkees, because he must think it's weird then when I'm saying it's mine and my girlfriend's song, because I see it as like a big love song. But he just thinks we're just absolute horn dogs or something. But I can get it with the. I actually don't get it. I'd love to hear his thoughts on that for when we do our, because he's a subscriber. So when we do our next TLSP song, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Sweet Dreams being a for the wrap up.
Also the wrap up.
Yeah. Maybe we can even get him on for the wrap up because he's a TLSP. But like I love. Anyway, that's a separate conversation. But yeah, no, obviously on point with us there, but doesn't love it as much as us. They just fall that way, obviously. And he thinks You're So Dark is the sexiest song, even ahead of Knee Socks, did he say? Or I can't remember what.
Well,
I think it is close for me.
The sexiest that he's written,
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go into our favourite musical moment then. We do have a jingle for that. What am I doing? Did I play the favourite lyric jingle? Or did I forget that?
Yeah.
I did.
I was thinking along.
Been a long afternoon. Right, this musical moment.
Bad sounds in your ear that make you get up and
down. For me, I kind of was in a few minds. If we're talking about instrumentation on the album, I'd probably say the bass on Knee Socks is like my favourite. Bass and guitar, I suppose, on Knee Socks, but I can't discount the Are You Mine riff. I just can't either, because I feel like it's 2012 song for me, but on the album it's such a good riff. I mean, who the fuck? What bass player as well wrote it? So it's crazy, but it's such a good riff. So Nick O'Malley gets both, I guess, in that regard. If you're asking me like for a specific moment in a song that I love, it's going to be the Knee Socks breakdown is the one bit that I always think of when I think of this album. Is that bit is just like a triumph for me. So they're my favorite. Samon.
Mine is the intro of Number One Party Anthem, because I wrote these like separately, but just the 1 2 boom, boom, that is just it sounds so good, not just how it's played. The actual sound of everything is perfect for me. But yeah, now I do just love that one song. Apparently, it's just the lyrics, the song, and the musical moment, and the number one.
So much so that you ripped it off one of your songs. I remember listening back to that episode that when we played when you said that, and then I played the clip. Justin goes, "Wow, like he did fucking rip it off."
Yeah,
I still think the intro reminded me of Lobo, my favorite song.
Yeah.
And I love that song, so that's a compliment and a half. But Justin, let's have it.
So musically, I went with the "Do I Want to Know" lick, because it's like one of the ones that like I sing just as much in my mind as Alex is singing. Like I'll just walk around and be like, bow, bow, bow. Like I'll just like hum it to myself. But also too, if I'm going like moment like you went to, I would say like when Josh comes in for Knee Socks, his just singing vocal part is like so iconic and special and unique. And yeah, so those are, I guess, would be my two elements.
To be fair, Simon, Justin went for Do I Want to Know on all of his, just like you went for Number One Party.
Yeah, just yeah.
Let's hear what Chris had to say on his favorite musical moment.
Favorite musical moment. I couldn't go for anything. It's maybe not a moment. Or a moment, is that 90 seconds, a minute and a half? Is that what technically a moment is? I'm not sure. But I've gone for like the last 90 seconds, 2 minutes worth of Knee Socks. As soon as sort of Josh Homme comes in, well, I'm a massive Queens of the Stone Age fan, so I'm all for them collaborating on anything. And if it's half as good as what this is, then you've got something special. It's just an incredible moment. It sort of gives you goosebumps when he comes in. It fits in perfectly. It just sounds really, really class. Yeah, I do not have anything else to say that hasn't already been said about that 90 seconds, about the album as a whole, as you can probably tell, because I'm probably repeating myself over and over again. But yeah, brilliant, really, really top tier. If you were to ask me for, what better 90 seconds from any Arctic Monkey song, I would very much struggle. From any song as a whole, in fact, I would very much struggle from the end of Knee Socks. So that one very much takes it for me.
There you go. We all kind of referenced that. Well, you and referenced that. And yeah, musical moment is like musical moment is either we usually pick an instrument that we liked in the song, and then also an actual specific moment. We're very vague with what that means. Just before we wrap up this era, just to pick up on something we talked about briefly at the start. I think unless anybody does have any other hot takes, there is this.
She flicks a red hot revelation off the tip of her toe.
So on my information search, I saw that Radio X in an article, we won't read, but it's basically said why Arctic Monkeys AM is their most important album. And that got me thinking, and then we touched on it at the start. I could see why people say that, obviously. But for me, I still think the most important point in their career was Humbug and going to Josh Homme in the desert after Favourite Worst Nightmare experience. And after the Shadow Puppets experience, I guess, as well, to then go for Alex and the rest of the guys to go to the desert with Josh Homme and do that album. Change the kind of, I guess, indie darlings that they'd been pegged as at that point, I think unfairly, because they had more to them than that, but it was the chance for them to go, no, we are going to be more than our contemporaries at the time, and we're not just going to die doing the same kind of albums like the rest of them are. And it was a risk that I think paid off and I think changed their trajectory, and that's why I think that Humbug is the most important Arctic Monkeys album.
I can see that, yeah, because for ages it was the one I liked the least, or I only liked half of, because not because it had changed so much. I think it was just the darkness of it was not something I was into at the time. Almost like there's quite a lot of minor keys in there. You know what I mean? So it feels a bit not. Don't know. But in 2009, I was like, no, not having this. And then now, I'm all for it. Dark as fuck. Yeah. Let's go. But no, no. But what you said about them changing and not just repeating themselves. What you said earlier about them not having to do like anniversary tours, 10th anniversary, 15th anniversary, or whatever, is also reflected in the fact that they haven't looked back at all. There's no special editions. There's no first album, 20th anniversary of the first album with Beyond the Boardwalk and a live show, and there's nothing. Not want to keep harping on about Oasis again, but even they released like definitely maybe came out in 2004 as some sort of 10th anniversary package with like a DVD and a live thing. But there's been none of that, which is weirdly refreshing. Even as much as I would like, a version of it with the B-sides on and the Beneath the Boardwalk songs as good as quality as they can get, and a live show or whatever. It's quite refreshing that they're going, no, we're going there. We're not looking behind. We're not waiting for you, sort of thing. You have to come with us if you want to. Any music you get from us will be new, and it won't be repackaged stuff.
I agree. I hate all that shit. But like, and to be fair though, I think there's so if in January, it's 20 years in January, right? From what people say I am. If they release that with some kind of stuff that's interesting as a vinyl, if they do, I'd be like, okay, enough time's passed. But I think the 10-year one for me, like you say, it takes the piss. It's like, it's only been 10 years. I don't need to see all this stuff. Like 20 years is like an actual anniversary where you go, oh fuck, that was 20 years ago. Okay, I want to hear some stuff from it. 10 years is nothing. 10 years is like, what, 10 years? That'd be like a film comes out 10 years later, you get the special. It's like, no, let's leave it a bit of time. Some bands are just milking it though, aren't they? But yeah, I think it is impressive that they have stayed away from all that. And they've managed to keep their record label from, applaud to Domino as well for being it, like having them, you know, I guess, because they're like the biggest thing on their label. They've got them by the Jaffas, I guess. They can do what they want. But yeah, we'll see, I guess, if they do a 20th one in January. But it wouldn't surprise me if they don't, and I don't. The only one I would take is 20 years of AM in 2033, where they put that "Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High" version on there that Helders talks about. I feel like Helders is referencing it so much recently that he has to give it out there at some point. But yeah, I agree. I love that about them, that they don't muck about with all that stuff really. On there. I think you're the other way, Justin. You want them to do that stuff, don't you? Have I mistaken that? Did we have a conversation about that?
I think it's like, I mean, because they've played songs, they've referenced songs. I mean, we talked about with Humbug, Josh Home referenced like songs, like he's like, we recorded this many songs. We know that many songs weren't released. Like he specifically gave a hard number. You know, we know Terror Pocket and we know Sand Trap, and there was the B-side from The Car that, you know, they were like, oh, we thought this was going to be the #1 single that we were going to release from The Car. It's like, where the fuck is that? Like, what? And the only reason I want them to release it too is because, you know, they made a statement like, oh, once Alex is kind of done with something, he kind of moves on. And I'm like, well, then I don't want it to just sit and evolve forever. Like, I mean, I feel like if they really cared, then maybe I would be like, okay, I would respect their opinions, but I think they just don't care. Like, you know, like if all of a sudden Terror Pocket was on some streaming platform, like would they be like, oh my god, I can't believe that got out there? Like, no, I don't think they would give a shit at all. So I would prefer to have it, you know. So yeah, I definitely would like to have those songs.
I will say, I think if they release the anniversary stuff, they won't put any. I can't see them putting any of that stuff on that. I think it would literally be like the B-sides included, and then like maybe like some live stuff. Yeah, I can't see them doing it. I just don't think it's a style. But in the same way that you know, it's funny though, because maybe that's a general, like we expect things like now, like in society, and like, but now we're only getting Bowie stuff now from like the 70s that was unheard and stuff like that. He's a state of putting out, like, so we just know about more because we hear about more, and we expect things a little bit more these days. I guess it's kind of nice that a band is going, no, we're going to keep these. We're not going to give you everything you fucking want.
They've not done like a greatest hits or a best of or anything either. No. Which is unusual, because even like, you know, not saying Franz Ferdinand are on the same level, but they put out a best of a couple of years ago.
I just think
that could be an episode here.
I think until more time passes, I just hope they don't do that. I fucking hate greatest hits albums and shit like that. Like,
but they'll have one extra song tacked on the end, one new song tacked on the end, like they do now.
Yeah, if they have one new song on there, then that would be interesting. But like, just a greatest hits album, it's like, who's that for? Because surely the big fans have everything anyway. I just don't understand who it's for.
And the casual fans have got Spotify. Well, they've just
these days it doesn't. Yeah, maybe back in the day you go, okay, for the casual fan you've got all the hits there, but now everything's at your fingertips anyway. So why do you?
That could be an episode for you to do though. A greatest hits of Arctic Monkeys in like 20 songs.
Oh wow, yeah. Ooh, that is a good idea for an episode actually. Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, does anyone think that AM is the most important Arctic Monkeys album? I could see why the statement is true in the fact that it was like grew them in America and made them a more global band. But I would say that if they were then doing stuff like Kings of Leon where they milk it, but they've just gone and done their own shit anyway. They haven't cared, and they've lost a lot of that audience by doing that. So I don't think they give a shit.
I kind of said like it might be the most important for them to move on. Like I think I think to them, in my mind, it's almost like this checklist, like, yep, we did it, it's done, we'll move on. And like their trajectory forward, their path forward kind of suggests that to me of like, we have no need to go back or to revisit again. Like we had the first album. It was a huge hit. We had AM. It was an even bigger hit. We did it. It's done. You know, kind of thing.
And I think like if it's big because then you earn the right to do what you want, they already had that right from the first album because of how big it was here. So they'd already bought the right to do what they want with the record label. So it's not like AM bought them the way they can go and be artists now. Like they'd already kind of done that, and they started doing that with Humbug, right, doing what they wanted. So, and in fact, Favorite Worst Nightmare was just as big as the first album as well. So they'd already kind of. It's not like they were doing AM to be like, right now we can do this big commercial album. Now we can go and do what we want in the world. It's like they were already doing what they wanted at that point anyway. So, but that is that. We'll just have a quick goodbye from Chris.
Thanks very much for inviting me on. I hope that you've enjoyed me rambling on to this, like I've enjoyed rambling on to yous for the past couple of years, however long it's been, and I'm looking forward to Tranquility. I've been enjoying your pre-album, pre-show album reviews as well. Enjoyed the Lou Reed one this week. I just wanted to point out, Dan, that The Passengers by Iggy Pop, not by Lou Reed. I was listening to that in the car and going, that's Iggy Pop. And the reason that Satellite Love sounds so much like David Bowie is because David Bowie produced the album and he's on backing vocals on that one. So just a wee correction for you on that one, a wee note to the editor on that one. But yeah, thanks very much, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate it. This is a great record. I know I've put it number 6 and number 7, but I think that shows how strong the discography is when you're putting an album, for me, when you're putting an album like this on number 6. The 99% of artists would never get this, would never come near this. If this was their album, then it would be far and away number 1 of their discography. So, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, thanks very much, and hope to catch up with you soon in some capacity. Alright, fucking hell, it's just been 37 minutes, Jesus. Sorry. Alright, edit as much as this out if you want, and if you've listened to all 37 of the minutes of this, thank you and well done. You've obviously got nothing better to do. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, no, I spent an hour editing it, Chris.
Buddy, so, we're at 4+ hours.
4:12, yeah, we do have nothing better to do. But I think that is interesting, isn't it? Because I think when we ultimately rank the albums, this will be lower down, and what bands would have how many bands would have this so low in their discography when ranked by the fans? Yeah. Like, it is crazy, really. We are spoiled for choice, but yeah. So it turns out now I have Iggy Pop, Lou Reed, and Leonard Cohen in the rotation of people that I get mixed up, which is great. That's great. That's 3 of them now that I just can mix up. But thank you very much, Simon, for joining us on this.
Thank you for having me.
And Tranquility is your favourite era. What's your favourite song of Tranquility?
The American Sports and the one before, either before or directly.
One Point Perspective, yeah. We are. Yeah. I do hear them as one as well, and I'm actually posing that we just do that podcast as one, like, and just have a really long one because it just fades. I'll just have it fade into the next one. The line that ends, "You don't know what you do" in the soundtrack to a chorus of "You don't know what you do," and it was like when I first heard that, I was like, "Oh, well done." Yeah. But yeah, that's it. We are moving into Tranquility, and I'm very excited. We will have you on for that. Maybe the wrap up, maybe even those episodes we'll speak about in the break. We are going to be gone for a little bit. We're going to have to take a break because we're both busy with stuff and come back. We will be 2026 when we're back, unfortunately. But we will be dropping a lot of content on the Patreon, the Arctic Podcast. Patreon.com/Arctic Podcast. There will be loads of content. Come join us there. And we're going to be dropping for everyone, I think, Dance Floor Anniversary episode in October. Is that one? So we can talk about that on the B-sides a bit as well. I think it's October, the Dance Floor release, 20th anniversary. Bloody hell, that's terrifying. And then, we've got stuff planned. So check that out. But we will see you... We will see you next year for Tranquility. I'm very excited about it. And thank you, Justin, as well, for coming in the series. Obviously, your first series. And,
I know, my first series is complete all the way through, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been great. I don't think, hopefully for the listeners, it hasn't nothing's really changed. Hopefully nothing's changed.
Can you switch hosts again?
I like to... I like to think that the benefit of what happened is that you have me and Nick had a lot of the same opinions because we grew up in a very similar fashion and had a lot of a similar. There wasn't much conflict in that way, so at least you bring other people's opinions, I think, to it that we didn't have before. So I like to think that is the case. But although you have lost Chris, obviously, by saying that, by saying what you said.
Except
about
me and Chris had a lot of the same. Like
maybe you won
we
him back.
matched up
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
Yeah, maybe you won him back throughout this episode. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. But this will have gone out in 2 parts because it's way too long to part in one. But we will see you next year for Tranquility. Bye everyone.
Thanks for
Thank you.
listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Justin Toole and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. Sign up with us on Patreon to get exclusive content including coverage of The Last Shadow Puppets, Arctic Monkeys adjacent album reviews, and concert watch-alongs. If you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We'll see you next week with more of the same.